Today we are talking about passing tempo. Some people would call it having better touch or having a better feel for the ball. And this is something that's very difficult to learn. It's very difficult to teach it if you don't really know how to explain it. So I've tried to incorporate this into some of my lessons and show you some ways that I would ask a player or explain how to get a better feel of the ball. There's 100,000 different factors that go into having a better tempo when you pass. I've broken it down to just 5 of the first ones that I can think of. I'm going to include some other ones in future videos, so look for those. Here are the first 5 factors that come to mind when trying to teach someone feel. Number 1, getting into correct passing posture. Now here I'm just starting to warm up with my player, and you'll see her motion is kind of poppy and upright, and she just gives up on her feet there. But yeah, her chest is up, chin is up, she's actually rocking backwards, and her hair is moving quite a bit, which is an indicator of popping. What we should look like is a little more like this: back's rounded, shoulders are tight, leaning forward, chin forward. Number 2, what I call squeeze and freeze. Squeeze your neck and shoulders, freeze your platform. This is important for creating good tempo because in order for the ball to go where it needs to go, you have to have intention and your movement has to have purpose. Your shoulders are actually where your control comes from, not your platform. I also call this steering. And freezing refers to holding your finish, not necessarily stopping your feet. Now that this player is in a better passing posture, her chest is further down, her platform is out in front of her, she's squeezing and freezing. You'll also see that her head is popping less. So now I'm going to make her move side to side and still maintain her good posture and her squeeze and freeze. What do I mean by squeeze? Here's my shoulders in a regular position where they're down and flat across. And here I'm trying to get my shoulders to touch in front of my chest. Can't actually do it, but that's what it feels like. Here my shoulders are down and flat, and you can see my whole neck. This is going to allow for a lot of errors and swinging my platform. Here, my neck is squeezed and my shoulders are tight and trying to touch in front of my chest. This is going to create less errors and better feel. Now look out for this, because when you ask your players to squeeze their shoulders, they may actually touch their platform to their chest too. You want their platform to be away from their body. Number 3, practice long contacts. To do this, start your squeeze and freeze really early, on the ball's way to you. If you contact the ball and squeeze and freeze at the same time, the result is going to be a punch pass and not very good feel. You'll see here I'm squeezing long before the ball ever touched my platform. Now, compared to this player's warm-up, she's in a better passing posture. She's squeezing and freezing slightly earlier so that she can have a longer contact, but I'm still seeing that she is moving backwards a little bit. As she's passing, she'll take a step back right there. So to continue to add better tempo, we're going to move to step 4. Number 4, rocking into the ball, putting forward pressure toward the target. So this is the part where tempo is really created, and it's generated by your ankle, the left ankle, which propels you forward into the ball. The timing at which when you push yourself forward is what creates the good tempo. The first 3 things I talked about are things that are in preparation to have good tempo. Those things being posture, squeeze and freeze, and long contacts. So here I'm just going to encourage the player and remind her of her posture. One of those things that I saw before was her chin. Her chin was popping up, and if your chin is popping up, even if you're in squeeze and freeze, your chest comes up and your motion wants to go up, versus if your chest is down and your chin is forward, your motion wants to go forward. Now, as we start the drill, I want her to feel her back leg do the work for her. So I'm going to rock with her. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you can see there, she stopped feeling her leg and was trying to pass the ball, so she started to punch it. So let's try it again with constant awareness of her back leg and of her squeeze and freeze. That's better, but she's not rocking quite as far forward as I would like her to.
Yes, there you go. Big rock. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Number 5, fighting with your feet to get into a good relationship with the ball at contact. This is the most important thing, and probably the goal of having a good contact is getting into the right relationship with the ball. I call this drill dancing because I want players to think of passing of just dancing with the ball. The idea that you can go from A to B in a straight line and be perfect is not real. The best passers are constantly trying to adjust their feet to get into a good relationship with the ball. So I do this drill in 2 parts. And again, I'm going to remind her of maintaining her good posture and her squeeze and freeze throughout the drill. But the first part is just to get the player comfortable with moving her feet that much. The goal being to keep the ball in this relationship while she's moving her feet without reaching. Now that she knows what her feet are supposed to feel like, now we're going to start part 2 of the drill. I want her to use that footwork to get herself into a good relationship with the ball, keeping her arms still and just tap it, which is not what's happening here. This is a good example of the typical tendency where if you stop your feet, you want to reach for the ball, which is not what I want her to do. So we're going to try again. Now you can see she's trying, but there's a lot of stop and go and then looking. So we're going to reset. I'm trying to get her to not move her platform a lot. There's a big reach there. So again, we're going to reset again. Sometimes it gets harder before it gets easier, or messier before it gets cleaner. There. So I'm going to correct that. Here's the big correction. She's wanting to contact the ball in this relationship, outside of her midline. There's where I want her. Now she understands the drill and where she's trying to be. There. Now we're getting bigger movements and she's getting closer to behind the ball. Whoops. That was a stop and reach again. So you have to remind them to feel what their feet are doing and not necessarily focus on the ball. Here we go again. There, good shuffle. You'll see she still wants to play the ball with her platform, which is why she's reaching and swinging quite a bit. Even though she's moving her feet better, I want her to rely solely on her movement and her foot adjustment and not moving her platform at all. The platform should stay between her knees and hips and shoulders. This looks correct. That was a much better transition between relationships to the ball until this happens right there. There we go. She's trying to stop her motion and reach for that ball so that she can hurry up and get back to the spot that she was in. Now remember, we're trying to increase her feel and her tempo on her pass. And one of the things that does that is having the player learn and be more willing to just let her feet go and not stop them and go and stop and go and stop and go. All the stopping and going in their movement creates a huge disconnect in what they feel and the rigidity of their contact. Now, sometimes you can't pass the ball between your shoulders and feet, but you can still maintain a good passing tempo if you constantly fight for the good posture and the squeeze and freeze and the forward pressure. So I'm going to ask her to finish her movement even though she's already contacted the ball. If they forget about their relationship with the ball, that's what it looks like. Or even this. As you can see, easier said than done. These are just some of the elements that I find that correlate to having better passing tempo. And there's obviously a lot more to it, and I'll try to go over those in future videos. So please subscribe to see those, and thank you for watching.